I'm in Brown County, Indiana. A lot of the places I go, I find books online. I have all my different resources, but this is a monument that you're not going to find on any of those. This is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. This is a place very special to me and to my family. This is the monument and gravesite of my great grandfather, Job Hamblen. The cemetery does have its very own sign, pretty worn. This is in, I think the closest town can be considered Nineveh or Taggart. This is in Hamblen Township. I would say it's about 15 miles northeast of Nashville, Indiana, the county seat. And just in the middle of a cornfield, like many old family cemeteries here in the Midwest, is this small cemetery. There's only 2 families here. It's the old gates. It's an ancestor of mine 10 generations ago. Served in the Revolutionary War. Was at the Battle of Yorktown. And was the first white settler of Brown County, Indiana. Job Hamblen was born on July 14th, 1762, and a lot of the information I'm about to tell you is from an old family genealogical book that I researched in. He was born, it's been narrowed down to a few counties in Maryland and in Virginia. I do believe he did grow up in Virginia. By the time of the battles of Lexington and Concord, the Hamblen homestead was very patriotic and they supported the war effort. But Job Hamblen did want to join the Continental Army, but he was too young. His day did come in 1781. He was 17 years old and he was able to join the Virginia State Militia. He at first joined Captain John Tabb's company, which very soon combined with Colonel Dabney's Virginia Militia. This event was mentioned in the book. I had never heard of this before, but in May of 1781, there was a British plot to actually go and capture Thomas Jefferson at Monticello. I think he was part of the group that intercepted that attack, so that's pretty good. But General Cornwallis and his British army, they were stationed in Williamsburg, Virginia. Then they started heading down through Jamestown Island, then to Yorktown. And the Americans saw an opportunity here. Job at this time would have joined up with Baron von Steuben, and at Williamsburg they joined up with at least 4,000 men under the Marquis de Lafayette. Other Continental troops were also joining in, and George Washington rushed down here from the New York front because of the opportunity. And by the time they made their way around Yorktown, they surrounded the place on all land areas, and then Rochambeau's ships came in, completely surrounding the British. And on October 6th, 1781, the siege began. At this time, an 18-year-old Job Hamblen was on the far right field, is how it was described. I haven't had time to look at a battle map to see where that was, but he would have been in the heat of the siege. The British did constantly fire at them at all times. Then the world turned upside down. Cornwallis did surrender, and Job Hamblen was a part of the battle that changed world history and birthed the United States of America. See, it's written right there, participated in siege and surrender of British Army at Yorktown, Virginia. He was discharged from the militia in 1782, and that same year married Eleanor Hamblen. Job farmed in Virginia. Then he decided to come out west and take advantage of all the land. So at first, from my understanding, he went to an area called Clifford, Indiana, around 1822, 1823. At this time, the federal government was giving land to Revolutionary War veterans, an appreciation because they weren't really able to do anything for them because of all the debt and stuff. But the federal government refused to give him any pensions because he served with the Virginia State Militia, not the Continental Army. So I guess that didn't really count. So there was a squatters law that was generally abided by in this area. So you could go find some lands, and if you build a homestead and a farm, and were very serious about it and planned on purchasing the land that was at that time federally owned, you just couldn't pay it yet, then people were supposed to respect that. But at that Clifford settlement, one day a guy showed up, had proof that he had bought that land, and Job had to move. Then around 1823, he moved to an area north of Columbus, Indiana, which is not too far from here, I imagine, but I think the same thing happened there. So we had to move westward once again. And this area was not settled yet. No one was out here. All of Brown County, which was not Brown County yet, was unsettled. So he made his farmstead somewhere around here. It is probably these fields that he would have farmed. Job's homestead was 145 yards from here. So again, somewhere in this area. This was in 1825. He was able to live out the last 8 years of his life here. Don't think he was ever able to actually and officially purchase the land from the federal government, but apparently things were better for him out here. And he is the first white settler, or at least known white settler, in Brown County. And sorry to the Native Americans, but it's also cool to have a pioneer in your family. And he died on September 1st, 1833, and was buried here. A few fun facts I know about him is that he was a carpenter. He could build like weaving looms. I know in that book there's a picture of one. Not sure where that is. I'd like to see that, or if it still exists. And he also played the violin. And he is buried right here. He was given a marked stone, much smaller than this, at the time of his death. He was 72 years old, and his wife Eleanor died at 87 years old in 1852. This is a veteran's tombstone. The federal government did put this here in 1911 for a permanent marker, which I really appreciate that they did that. And this was the pre-World War I version of the headstones. But a few years later, the Hamblen family decided to raise the money to build him an actual monument at this cemetery. And that's really cool. It's really cool when someone in your family has a monument like this. So it's kind of like a pyramid. There are 5 steps, and this marker part is made of Vermont granite. And it's nice as it gives a little bit of history about him, really put his story in stone out here. And I think under this stone, so it'd be down here, at the dedication in 1928, they put a copper box. There's a 27-page booklet about Job Hamblen, as well as the names of all the donors to the memorial. Unfortunately, there is not an American flag. That's what that is for. I've only been here once before, and that was like 9 years ago. So, sorry, Joe, I don't get out here enough. I wish the American flag was up. This thing is probably 90 years old at this point. It appears someone actually mows it, which is nice, but I am probably the last person to have come out here to visit the cemetery. Maybe not, but again, that was like 8 or 9 years ago. There is some damage on the steps. Yeah, so definitely some deterioration over here. That's not good, but don't know how / who could fix that. On the back side of the monument, there's his name written in big letters, Job Hamblen. On the back side, there are some small stones. These are Taylor family stones. Later generations, so like Job's offspring would have married them, and that's why they're also here to have been in the area. Those 3 say Taylor because of the T. Not sure whose this is. Could possibly be Job's old marker, I don't know. Take a look at the Taylor graves. I think this is the last burial at the cemetery. And these are some pretty cool markers. You can see this one has the Bible on it. Died 1876, 1875. There's a finger pointing up to heaven. Well, Job, glad I was finally able to get back here to pay my respects. Try to get here in a more timely manner in the future, but I got a cabin to get to. Actually, first, check this out. This is the Hamblen Township Fire and Rescue Fire Station, named after my family. Hope they're good at their job. I'm in Brown County doing something a little different. This weekend I'm actually staying in this cabin like 20 minutes north of Nashville, and it's very nice. Brown County is considered the best place for natural beauty and recreation here in Indiana. I mean, we don't really have much. We're all flat farmland for the most part, but Brown County has some neat views. This is inside the cabin. It's actually really freaking nice. Wouldn't mind living in here. There's country music playing in the background. I think this is near Bean Blossom, Indiana, and there used to be a Bill Monroe museum that I unfortunately didn't get to, even though I don't really know who that is. And there's a freaking spiral staircase up to the loft. I really like this mirror in the bathroom. It has a bunch of shards from old souvenir plates. So I've been having fun trying to recognize which places they're from with what I can see on the shards. And there's some full ones. There's Las Vegas, Mammoth Cave, that's Bridal Cave. There's a really nice view from up here. I think this is one of the 2 highest points in Brown County. Over 1,000 feet. Which I think would also make it one of the highest points in the state. And just down the hill from the cabin, there's like a little tree house platform. Not sure how old it is, who built it, or how to get on. Let's try to figure out a way. Hey, made it up. You can see the cabin is up there. Very pretty trees out tonight. And down the hill from the cabin, there's a small pond. So it was really cool personally for me to go back to the grave of my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. I don't think I've been there in like 8 or 9 years, even though I don't live that far away. And it's a little different from what I do, kind of stressful, not going before dusk, after dawn, hitting stuff, but whatever. Pretty nice place, definitely recommend. Brown County, if you like this video, I did do a video at Brown County State Park. I've also done ones at TC Steel, State Historic Site, and downtown Nashville. So please go check those out, and thanks for watching.